Hello, folks. We all know you listen to the crew at different times of the day, so good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Preview Crew. I'm your host, Dan, and tonight joining me are some of the crew's finest. First up, his taste in football teams is as bad as his taste in lager. He loves a bit of skull. It's Vikings fan Craig, how are you?
I like that one. Not bad, Dan, not bad at all, mate. Good to be back on.
Excellent. In a season where the Patriots fans are starting to pull their hair out at Mac Jones and dare I see Bill Belichick, this man hasn't joined them with that reaction. It's Scud. How are things?
Hi, good man. I wish I was through choice. I'm just not getting any hair left.
Now, this man loves taking advantage of people in fantasy trades. It's Big Chief Trading Bull. It's Studs. How are you doing yourself?
Yeah, not bad, mate, not bad. I've been behaving myself in the trades this year, although I was quite surprised at the one that Stu accepted.
Excellent, guys. Good to have you on as always. Folks, as we approach week 6, some teams are positioning themselves at the top of the tree, and some are already on the phone to Caleb Williams. We'll look at some of the key games this weekend, cover the rest in one. Hopefully we'll have time for a new feature of Will They, Won't They? Now we're going to get straight into the games. The first game features two quarterbacks that have been written off so many times. It's Goff versus Mayfield. First, I'm going to go to Scud. Give us your thoughts on this game, Scud.
I'm actually really looking forward to it, and I've always been a fan of the Lions and wanted them to do well, but as we think we've spoken previous pods, I've got a soft spot for Baker Mayfield, and he's started really well. He's said he's somewhere where there's no pressure, they believe in him, and it's just as if he's rising to the occasion now. But I think it's going to be a really good game with both have got good offenses, decent run games just now. Montgomery's come in, done well. You've also got White for the Bucks has started the season well as well. Plus, they've both got a good 1-2 punch at wide receiver. You've got Ramon St. Brown and Jamin Williams hopefully come back this week and more involved than it was last week. And then you've also got Evans and Godwin as well. So it's a really good, and both good young tight ends. So I'm actually looking forward to it. I think it will be probably more high scoring than people think. I know the Bucks have got a good D, but I just think the Lions offense has done really well. And Goff's just surpassed everybody's expectation, I think, with what he's done in previous years.
Yeah. I mean, Sam Laporte, I think, came out of the draft, they were expecting big things from him. He was a bit quiet to start the season, but he came in a bit of a breakout game last week, didn't he, Craig?
Aye, absolutely. There's quite a few aspects to this game. I think, like you mentioned, Goff, Scud as well, coming up against the Bucks. There was reading into their blitzing and basically how they're like one of the highest percentage blitz teams. So I reckon that he's going to be seeing quite a lot of pressure in this game as well. And they've got a pretty robust pass defense as well. So I don't quite know how this game is going to go, to be honest. I think when you've got guys like Vita Vea coming at you as well, like he's an absolute monster of a unit. He's pretty terrifying. So, I think Goff's going to have a pretty interesting time of it against the Bucks. And then you've got Baker on the other side, I think he's been pretty solid. His the completion percentage is about 70%. So he's not really done too much wrong. He's slotted in pretty well. He looks pretty settled. And like Scud was saying, the amount of weapons that he's got to throw to as well. Going to be interesting to see how this one kind of pans out. They've come off a bye week as well, so they're pretty well rested. Both with decent records, 3-1 and 4-1.
Yeah,
it's quite interesting. Both quarterbacks have got about, I think Goff's about 8 yards a pass and Tingly's 7.1, so they're both thereabouts with each other, but they're passing as well. So it'll be good to see.
Yeah. So we've spoken about Baker Mayfield before, and him now being in a situation that really suits him. He's struggled in different cities and different teams, and probably the same could be said for Goff as well. So how important it is for these two quarterbacks to find a team in a situation that really suits them.
I think it showed, especially Baker Mayfield, how if he feels that kind of love from the kind of community, how well he starts to play, and then Freddie Kitchens come in the relationship just seemed to kind of break down when he was in Cleveland. The Panthers was just a tire fire, so that I think he was kind of flung under the bus at that point. So whoever kind of walked into that job was kind of going to be struggling. And then now, as Scud said, he seems to have a good coach that's believing in him. And he seems to be repaying him for that as well. And it's a similar story with Jared Goff. It's quite clear towards the end, and when Stafford became available, that McVay was hunting for a new QB. And right away, that shows that McVay's got no confidence in Goff. He's went into Detroit, and Dan Campbell's literally just let him loose for day one. I mean, they were one of the best teams to watch last year on offense, albeit their defense was atrocious. And the offense had to keep scoring to keep up, but that was on the back of Jared Goff last year as well, and they're continuing it this year. And albeit I think David Montgomery's got a lot to say in that matter as well. He's allowing his running game has been allowing the play action to kind of flourish for Jared Goff, and that's when he seems to be strongest. When he's got time in that pocket, that's when Jared Goff will start picking you off.
Yeah, I mean, I've said previously on pods I'm a massive fan of Dan Campbell. He just seems to be a coach that players want to play for. And you see it in all different sports. He's one of those head coaches the players would run through a brick wall for him. And I think you can see that on the field with the Lions. I mean, if you were to say to anybody at the start of the season that the Lions would be 4-1 and the Vikings would be 1-4, you would never have predicted this happening. We'll obviously get predictions for this game, but can the Lions keep this up? Is the divisions there now theirs to lose?
I think they're going to. I think they're in pole position at the moment, and for the best ball in the world, Craig. But I don't know. The Vikings need to turn it around, and with JJ again out for
they won't
on IR. But it's just going to be. You've got some other wide receivers there, but it's going to be hard. Green Bay are just trying to find their feet after Rodgers goes, and then you've got Chicago that turned up last week, but how often are they going to be turning up? They've got the potential to be a decent team as well. So to me, the Lions are there, and the only reason I'm saying that more on this year than last year is they've got a better. As Ross touched on there, the defense wasn't great last year, but they're playing a lot better this year. Hutchinson looks like a first-round pick this year, a lot more as well. He's doing well with everything, so I just think it will be interesting, and I do think it's their division to lose.
Yeah, I think so, and their offense as well starting to click. I mean, you look at the last three games. Like the last game there, scored 42 points. Week before that, 34 points. Week before that, 20 points. So like week on week, they're building on that. This one's going to be certainly tough, but everything seems to be clicking for them just now. And in that division, I can't see any other team putting up a challenge. I think it is theirs to lose. We've talked about it before, about what this Lions team could potentially do in the NFC North. So again, this will be going on the roads. They're 2-0 away at the moment, so they've been really impressive. There's no reason why they couldn't come away with a win after this game as well.
Yeah, looking at the Lions, I mean, they're a team that were very much in transition, but they seem to be getting their pieces together. I mean, Goff's only 28. We've obviously got Montgomery at running back. They've picked up Jahmyr Gibbs. He's now their future running back. They've got Amon-Ra, wide receiver. That offense is starting to take shape, and it's one that's going to be around for a few years. As you mentioned, they've got Aiden Hutchinson on the other side of the ball, who's starting to really step up and be that stud that they were hoping he was going to be. So do you think this is a start of a run of the Lions not being the Lions, if that makes sense?
I'm still recovering for the shock of Scud calling me my Sunday name is Ross. So take a wee minute there. I think it could be, as you mentioned, DC seems to be building something with that team. That offensive coordinator, I think, had potential interviews lined up for head coaching roles, and he knocked them back because he was excited about the project to stay in Detroit. His name's escaping me just now. But again, you can just see what this team is building. You've also got the likes of Penny Sewell in that offensive line, who's going to be probably one of the linchpins of that offensive line for the next few years. He was, say, a rookie pick last year. can't remember the name right now.
I think it was.
But he was a first rounder a couple of years ago. So they are building a young team. I think it's now up to the rest of the NFC North to try and kind of catch them. I think they'd be expecting Chicago to take a step forward. They haven't done it. Minnesota were unlucky 2 seasons ago in one-score games. They rode their luck last year in one-score games, and then it seems to be back to the way it was the previous year, where the one-score games are killing them. They just can't seem to get that balance. And as Scud mentioned, Green Bay are in transition. It's a lot of what's going to happen there is going to be how does Love keep progressing through the season? Is he going to be their franchise quarterback? If he is, then can they stabilise themselves? Because they've certainly got some good young weapons in there as well. But can
Funny you say
stabilise
stabilise after Young. Funny you say stabilise after Love the other week.
Certainly wasn't stable, was he?
Sorry, it's supposed to got in.
No, you're all right. The drunken man routine at the back of the.
Exactly.
Flipping over to Tampa Bay. Sorry, you go.
Sorry, I was just going to say, yeah, just taking a finish off. I think it is definitely. This is looking like Detroit's division for the next few years for me, unless something drastic happens.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think the Lions have been. Dan Campbell's really building something there, and the owners have given him the time to do that, and they've really backed him. And I think the support he's getting from that is really helping. Flipping over to the Bucks, and so obviously we mentioned Mayfield and him finding his home. The Bucks are kind of, I think, on the offensive side, they're all really at the other end of the scale with them. They've got experienced players. They've got obviously Godwin, Mike Evans have been around for a while. How do we see the Bucks this year? Like they're in a division that's very, very winnable. I mean, looking at it now, they're 3-1. The Falcons are 3-2. The Saints are 3-2, and the Panthers are 0-5. That division was probably at the start of the season. You probably couldn't have picked a winner out of that division. How's the season going for them so far, Craig?
Yeah, I mean, decent start. At the beginning of the season when we were predicting the NFC South, I thought the Saints were probably going to be the strongest team in that division. I didn't think that Mayfield was going to settle and hit his stride as quickly as he has. And again, Atlanta, they're going to be there or thereabouts. I still think the Saints, they've now got Kamara back. I think they are going to get stronger. I think that the Carr's going to improve that team as well. So I could see it being pretty tight between them and the Bucks. But certainly, come the end of the season, there's no reason why either of those sides couldn't top the NFC South. And Panthers at 0-5. Yeah, I think we can safely write them off as a challenge for the division. But yeah, definitely a more than decent start from the Bucks in their kind of post Brady era, and they've certainly, I think that life has certainly been made easy for Baker in terms of having that experienced talent to throw to. That's for certain. They've drafted pretty smartly, and they seem to be building some pretty decent momentum. The very beginning of the season, we played them at the start of the season, and we fancied their chances, and they showed exactly what they could do. So they have been fairly impressive and definitely exceeding expectation.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, the Bucks have got a really experienced team, but coming from a team that's really got a tight end's a key position for them, Studs. What's your thoughts on K. Dotton so far this season?
I think we've seen kind of flashes of how good he can be, and I think you've seen it last year with Tom Brady as well. Brady, there was occasions where he did seem to trust him, and then he'd come back the next week where he was completely anonymous again. So I think it has been a kind of similar story, but I feel kind of slightly sorry for him because it just seems to have been from the receiving corps. It seems to have just been the Mike Evans show for the Bucks, and I don't know how many yards off the top of my head Godwin's had, but it just feels, watching their games and watching their highlights, he almost feels as if he's been irrelevant. It's been Mike Evans has been getting all the highlights. Mike Evans has been getting all the scores. So for me, it just seems like he's running the show there, and the team's going to really fly with how Mike Evans flies, to be honest. But I think K. Dotton has certainly showed that he can be a reliable target for Baker Mayfield, and it would be nice, I think, to see a little bit more of him.
Yeah, just to go back to the point you were making there. So far this season, I had it there. Chris Godwin's got 21 catches for 255. Mike Evans has got 20 for 337. Touchdowns, Evans has got 3. Godwin's got 0 so far.
Yeah, Evans is listed as
You know,
questionable today,
targets,
so he's one to
but
keep an
Evans
eye
is getting
on.
more yards.
Aye.
Yeah, so it seems like Evans is getting the whether it's longer throws or whether it's yards after the catch, they'll get the same amount of targets and receptions, but Evans seems to be being more productive with those.
He got about 75 yards on one catch with him.
Yeah.
He got a monster catch, so that's probably skewing the figures more in his favour there. So he's probably getting more of an even split, but Godwin's always going to be your sort of crossing routes short. Evans is always going to be your long shot over the top, and he's a more physical, go up and get them kind of guy.
Yeah. I think
that's the thing. I mean, Godwin is class. I wasn't meaning that to take him away from Godwin. He is a class receiver. We've seen that. It just feels almost like we're seeing so much more in Mike Evans. It's almost as if where is Godwin type thing. So I do fully expect him to kind of come into play at some point. Maybe it's I don't know.
Yeah, he absolutely will. The more they focus on him, as each game goes on, the more coverage he gets. It's going to open up opportunities. But as I said, he's listed as questionable. I don't know to what extent that questionable status is, but maybe want to keep an eye on going into the weekend.
Yeah, I've got the injury report here. The latest one, I'm assuming what they run now. We're on Thursday. This Wednesday. I'm not sure about the time difference. He didn't practice on the last injury report. What that is, I don't know if it's injury or illness or whatever, but he didn't practice on the last injury report.
I'm not sure.
So I'm not sure. It's not the junior kids for the Lions.
I was going to say, Wednesday could be a Veterans Day as well, a lot of the time, so that might play into factor too.
Yeah, so obviously they're not playing till late on Sunday, so it's worth keeping an eye on that one as well. Good coverage of the game there, guys. Let's get some predictions. Scud, how's this one going to go?
I'll go with the Lions by 7.
I agree. I think the Lions win.
Yeah. Studs?
Just to be completely different, I'll throw a Bucks one in there.
Just don't like you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think this could be a really interesting matchup, and I think it might be one of the games that kind of flies under the radar this weekend. I think it's going to be a really good game between two teams that are probably fairly evenly matched. But I think if Gibbs and Amon-Ra play, I think the Lions will sneak it. I think it's going to be close. I think the Lions will just take that one. All right, guys. So on to game 2. So the Seahawks are quietly sitting at 3-1. Who would have seen that coming? And we all know about the Bengals' struggles this season so far. Craig, how's this one going to go?
So, Bengals, they obviously had a big win last week against the Cardinals. So I guess, they're going to be hoping that they can use that as a bit of a springboard, really, to get kickstart their season, because they have struggled. I mean, we're coming into week 6, and the Bengals are currently sitting bottom of the AFC North. I don't think anybody, would have seen that coming at the beginning of the season. And the Steelers are top. Again, just a wee bit of a weird scenario going on there. But I say good win for them. Took them a wee bit to get going. Like first half, they were fairly even, and then they get lucky with it. The pick 6 just before the half, and then from then the second half they kind of dominated. So hopefully they're going to win that game 34-20, and they're improving. I think it's accurate to say that they've not been the same team offensively or defensively that they were last season, but there's certainly some signs that they are definitely improving. I mean, on the subject of improving, Jamar Chase finally his first touchdowns of the season. Going into week 5, that was another kind of bizarre situation. He had absolutely no touchdowns for the season. The Bengals as a whole just really struggling. I think they'd only scored 3 up until that point. So then he goes on, makes up for lost time and went for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns. So yeah, it's hopefully starting to kind of click into place. Burrows, yeah, his injury struggles, he did feel, he said in his post-match interview he was feeling better. So hopefully some confidence for the Bengals going into this game as well. So yeah, we'll see. As far as the running game goes with Mixon, I was listening to one of the Bengals kind of pods earlier on, and they were talking about just maybe watching the weather in this one. That might play a factor. If it ends up being a bit wet and miserable, then maybe the run game might struggle a little bit. But yeah, for the Bengals as well, they've had guys like Higgins struggling with a broken rib. So he broke it in, I think, week 4. So it's basically like a pain management issue for him. Hopefully, he's able to play, but he might be struggling a little bit just with the injury side of things. So whether he gets a massive amount of volume, whether he's able to or not, or whether they're going to lean on guys like Trent Irwin or Tyler Boyd, kind of remains to be seen. But from Seattle sides, yeah, they've got off to a pretty decent start, I've got to say. They're coming off their bye week as well, so they're going to be pretty well rested. The previous game, they were massively impressive against the Giants. Their pass rush was just unreal. Like, they just absolutely tormented Daniel Jones. Like, he's probably still got PTSD after that game. He get absolutely torched. So yeah, I think that's going to be worrisome for Burrow. Having that pass rush coming off that rest week. How is he going to cope with that? And what are the Bengals going to do to kind of cope with that? So yeah, lots of interesting things, but there's a few injury. I was looking at the injuries, like potential injury players coming back. So yeah, like their cornerback, Reek Willen, he's hopefully going to be back. I don't think he's played since week 1. And yeah, as far as the other injuries go, like Geno Smith, Jaron Reed, Drummond Jones are all full participants. No concerns there, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Looking at it, though, just as you mentioned the injury report, DK Metcalf didn't practice. He obviously taken off the bye week. We'll see how that one goes. For the Bengals, you mentioned T. Higgins. He was a limited participation in practice, so he seems to be getting back again. I mean, as someone who's seen a lot of Joe Burrow for the last couple of years, Studs, obviously we're all surprised at the start of the season that he has had, and you can put part of that down to his injury. A calf injury for a quarterback can be quite difficult to throw off of. But do you think that we're going to start seeing the proper Burrow after last week?
I would like to say yes. I really would. But again, you're looking at who he was playing against. So you're looking at one of the teams that everyone expected to be probably number 1 pick. Everyone's favourite for the number 1 pick in Arizona last week.
Just to interrupt you for a second, Studs. The Cardinals are a very good team. The Cardinals can beat some good teams in this league.
I was throwing nobody under the bus for that one. Absolutely not. But no, it was great to see Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase hook up like they did and get the big games. And obviously you want to see the best players competing every week, so you want to see Burrow at 100% versus 100% Dak Prescott versus 100% Pat Mahomes. That's the games you want to see. You want to see the best of the best going against each other. So my hope is that yes, Burrow's back and we see more the same, because that will then force, for me, Geno, who's probably been bang average, and bang average is probably pushing it, to start the season. After last year, he started the season like an absolute house on fire and kind of tailed off towards the end. So for me, this is, you really need Geno Smith to kind of step up and kick on. If he's going to try and keep up with the Bengals, that's what we need to see. We need to see him kick on.
Yeah. So looking at the talent that the Seahawks have really got. I mean, on both sides of the ball, mainly. I mean, obviously we spoke a good bit about Geno Smith, but Kenneth Walker, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Noah Fant. On that side of the ball, on the defense, you've got folk like Bobby Wagner, Devin Weatherspoon, Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, Rick Whelan. Is it a surprise that they're 3-1, or have they been a bit underestimated this season?
I would say it's not a surprise, but I think that how, as Studs touched on it, how average Geno Smith has been, I'm surprised at that. I thought I was expecting him to kick on and be as good as last year, and he's not. But their offensive talent is scary good. And I think Kenneth Walker could have a game here, and he might have a say in this game, because the Bengals are they're struggling mostly against the run. They're actually got a decent pass offense, but their rush defense, I think, is like 31st in the league. So to me, Walker might have a big say in how this game goes. But I don't think it's a shock they're 3-1, because I fancied them maybe there thereabouts and pushing for a playoff berth this year. But I just think Smith needs to start playing better, because when they start playing better teams, it might start getting found out more and more, because the defence has been okay, but it can't hold him if he's having subpar performances.
Yeah. Do you think that the Geno Smith we're seeing this year is the Geno Smith everybody thought they would see last year? Like, if teams figured it out, was last year a bit of a surprise, like, oh, wait a minute, Geno Smith, we don't know how to play against him. Whereas teams are now looking at him this year thinking, right, this is what he done last year, this is how we can play against him. Craig, what do you think?
Well, the question got asked last year, like after Wilson left and went to Denver, and when Geno came in last season and settled so quickly, you know, the question was surrounding coaching at the Seahawks. Like, is it just that they've got a great coaching setup and they've got a similar situation to the conversation that keeps coming up with guys like, you know, Purdy in the 49ers, for example, saying you can put an average quarterback into that scheme, that system, and they'll still excel. I think Geno did exceed expectations last year, no doubt about it. And he hasn't quite got to the same level yet. But then there's so many really who you would consider elite quarterbacks that we've talked about that haven't got to that level yet in the season. So
Mac Jones, you're right.
Absolutely, Scud. Mac Jones, that elite quarterback. Poor Mac Jones. It's still relatively early in the season. They've had the bye. He's probably maybe been himself disappointed, so he'll probably want to come and bounce back in this game as well, show what he really can do. So I'd like to hope that, you know, for that reason, he could be one of the QBs to watch this week to put in a decent performance.
Yeah, look at the Seahawks in the next couple of games. Obviously, we spoke about the Bengals this week. They then play the Cardinals, the Browns, then they've got the Ravens. I mean, 3 of those 4 games are winnable for the Seahawks going on current form. So, before we know it, the Seahawks could suddenly be 6-1. That's not a opposition I think many people would expect them to be after 7 games this season. I think it's in the Bengals. We'll maybe cover a wee bit more of them, what the future looks like for them. But are the Bengals going to turn it around? Is this the start of a new? This is a reset for them last week. Was it last week effectively week 1 for them? Scud, what do you think?
Hopefully it'll give them a kick start to their season, and if Burrow's more healthy, it'll hopefully they'll be able to rely on the passing a bit more, because I want to see them do well. They're one of the better teams, and it's just been a really shocking bad start to the season. I mean, they're level in wins, was they not? So that's telling you something how bad it's been. But it's just, I hope the Bengals turn it around and start showing us what they're for. Every time I've seen them, I've just been their passing game, but they've no rushing game, and they're going to struggle if they can't run the ball.
Yeah. Joe Mixon's been completely anonymous.
Exactly. Every time I look at it, it looks just like, I think I could run through the tackles better than him.
Yeah, looking at the Bengals, we also look at the Seahawks next couple of games. So after this weekend, the Bengals will get the 49ers, the Bills, the Texans, and the Ravens. That's 4 big games for them if they want to do anything this season.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, so let's pull back to this week, obviously. So let's go to predictions for this weekend. Studs, where's this game going?
Just because I've got absolutely zero faith in Gino, I'm going to go for the Bengals.
Craig?
Whoa. I'm going to mix up then. I'm going to go Seahawks based on bye week, and Gino want to prove a point, so I'll go Seahawks in this one.
Scott?
Bengals by 5.
Yeah, I think watching last week, I think the Bengals have got their act together, but I know it was the Cardinals. But it's going to give them a bit of confidence and show them what they can do when they're on their game. I'm going to go Bengals here as well.
I think that's a bit of disrespect to the Cardinals, boys. They've actually surprised me this year.
It surprised me.
That's not a dig at Dallas, but
I'll take the dig because it's deserved.
I've been surprised how well they've played and how much they've been in every single game they've played in. That surprised me a lot.
Yeah, to be fair, I agree with you on that. And I was one that said, and we made the jokes at the Cardinals in the off season that we were expecting to be a dumpster fire, but they're doing okay for themselves. I mean, they're not going to do much. I mean, obviously they're 1-4, but like you said, they've been a competitive 1-4. You know
a feisty 1-4.
Look at just a complete random thing. The points difference, they've put up 108 points and conceded 136. So for a team that's 1-4, the points difference is only -28. It's not that bad. I mean, you look at the Giants. The Giants are 1-4 and they're -91.
The Giants are the one that came to mind for me as well.
To me, I was thinking about the Patriots. Your points differential must be horrendous.
Let's just check it.
I think Denver's
a wee bit here, but Patriots is -76.
I thought that.
So of all the 1-4 teams, Patriots are -76. Broncos -60. Giants -91. Ooh. Vikings -12, which is ridiculous. And Cardinals -28. So they're a competitive 1-4 team this year compared to what I would expected them to be. Okay, so that's that game. So the third game we're going to cover this week, I'm going to probably say this is probably going to be game of the week, or it's potential to be game of the week. Divisional matchup, both teams are 3-2. Obviously, the Colts are going to be minus Anthony Richardson, but they've got Taylor with another week under his belt in training. Bit of Minshew mania on the go as usual. The Jags went 2-0 in London, so they did a couple of good weeks. Studs, where's this one going?
For me, that's when, as you said, this is going to be game of the week, and I love the fact that you started off the Minshew mania by bringing in the Minshew Tashies onto the podcast as well. So, but again, that is the thing. You look at and the Colts, they've lost Anthony Richardson. That's obviously the big news out of last week. But then you look at their backup. This is a guy that was driving when he came into the league as a rookie. He stepped into a role and he started winning games for the Jags too. So that's another part of this that I think's possibly been kind of forgotten about. It's a revenge game for Gardner Minshew because the Jags shipped him off to the Eagles, and then he stepped in there when Jalen Hurts got injured, won some games in there as well, and kept them competitive when Hurts was injured. So he's probably one of the best backups in the league for me. So it's going to be fascinating to see how he does this week. You're looking at two teams that I think the offenses are, I want to say Indianapolis is 11 and the Jags are 5 or something like that in terms of their overall offense. But their defenses are the lower half. Their defenses are like 25th and 28th. So you can really see where this game is going to be won and lost. Just by looking at those stats, it's got the potential to be an absolute shootout, especially with what we know about Minshew in there. If he likes to throw the ball, Lawrence has so far this year he's been a little bit handy with turnovers, which is probably what he needs to kind of cut out of his game this week for the Jags. But again, on the Jags side, you're looking at Christian Kirk and Ridley coming off of both of them having over 100 yards in London last week. Travis Etienne having a very good couple of weeks in London as well. So their offense seems to be starting to kind of roll as well. So for me, it is absolutely going to be game of the week. And I don't think it's going to be close. I think it's in terms of against other games. I think this game as a whole will be close. And I think it's going to go a long way to deciding the division as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've just scrolled away from it. So I'll put it back up again. So division so far is currently sitting at 3-2, 3-2, 2-3, 2-3. So it's a really tight division, and it probably, I think this may be one of the divisions we talked about in the off season where it's going to come down to these divisional games that could potentially settle this division. I mean, as you said, Studs, the Jags are coming off a couple of great weeks in London, and you think coming off that there's not going to be much of a hangover from that because obviously the travel and that. Maybe teams might get a wee bit of hangover. Oh, Scud, I'm behind you. I'm assuming by that Scotland have just scored.
Breaking news.
Wait a minute, I'm about 30 seconds behind. We'll just pause the NFL chat for a second.
Guess who scored?
Jack Henry.
Scott McTominay.
Oh, he's going for a free kick, Scott McTominay. We should never have scored for that angle.
Is he not
It's
top
like a corner kick.
goal scorer in the Euros?
Basically, the free kick is about 3 yards in for the byline, halfway between the corner flag and the box, and he's put it in the far corner.
You'll love to
I've
see
not
it.
even seen it, and I'm going to say that's horrible goalkeeping.
I wait to see the replay. What happened with the goalkeeper?
Oh.
Sorry, folks. I know we're talking here about NFL, but Scotland are beating Spain, so we just need to wait for a wee second to see what happens.
To be fair, I don't think the keeper could do much.
No, the keeper's. Nah, you're right. It's just a great free kick.
Sorry.
It's one of those ones. It curled at the last second, so the goalie's expected it to be a cross, and it's just took a curve at the last second into the far post.
Why are they going to
I
VAR?
think he's meant it. He's definitely took the shot. He's meant it. Excellent.
The argument about having defenders on posts and
They had the guy in the front post, but not in the back post. This
This is going to be
VAR
squeaky bum
now,
time. I know.
Oh, he's away
And
to
even-
the screen.
And even if it does count, it's going to be squeaky bum time for the next half an hour.
You didn't interfere with play going.
Right, let's come back to what
Scott's
the referee's way to VAR. We'll come back to it in a second. Sorry, we're talking about the Jags and the Colts. Sorry, we got a wee bit distracted, a wee bit excited. Sorry, folks. Right, sorry, Scud. Stud, you on what you're talking about there. I've completely lost my train of thought now. Nah, that's a goal. It's still good. So looking at the Colts, so obviously we're all very excited with Richardson coming out of the draft. No more than Studs picking him up in the fantasy draft. And to be fair, up until last week, it's been a very good pickup for you, Studs. How much are they going to miss Richardson, or does Minshew negate that to the extent, Craig?
I think that Minshew coming in. I was listening to another pod talking about this earlier on, and they came out with the line that Minshew is the best backup quarterback in the entire NFL. And I can't really argue with that because he's proven himself to come in and be reliable. In the teams he's been at so far, he's stint at the Eagles, and say at the Jags as well. He's been absolutely solid in his outing so far. He's not thrown an interception yet. He's just going to slot into this offense with very, very little adjustment. Yes, it's a shame that Richardson's on IR. He's going to be out for at least a month, possibly even longer than that. But with Minshew coming in and taking the reins, definitely no concerns there. Plus, he can, even if he were to struggle, and I don't think he will, they can lean on the run game. Like last week, it was all about Zach Moss. He had 23 odd carries, 2 touchdowns. He looked absolutely brilliant. And Taylor will start to come back into it. Like obviously, he's been paid massively. That $42 million that they've paid him in that contract, they're going to want to get their money's worth. But he's not going to immediately come in and start taking the lion's share of the snaps in the grounds. He's still going to be fairly limited, I would think, in this game. So, yeah, for Minshew coming in, hand the ball over as well to Zach Moss. Be interesting, though, because the run defense of the Jags against the Bills was pretty decent against Cook. They didn't really let him do too much. So, it might force the Minshew to chuck it a wee bit more then if they can get the run game going.
Yeah. So Andy Dalton's now sitting in a corner on the huff that he's now no longer the best backup in the league. Obviously, as I'm Zach Moss on fantasy, I was waiting for that breakout, and I thought last week, Taylor's back, that's him, Moss is done, and then suddenly he has this breakout week. How do you see the Colts managing Taylor back into the team versus Moss? Good.
I think they'll run them as a two-headed monster for a bit until Taylor's fully up to speed. Definitely Moss has come out with what I thought he was going to be, even in Buffalo. He's now shown what I thought he was out of college, but I think they'll run him as a two-headed beast. I think this is a bad game for them to start with, to be honest with you. The Jags having the fifth best run defense in the league, it's going to prove hard, but they're two exceptional running backs. I know Craig Smudger touched on Cook getting held up, but they two are different kinds of running backs to Cook completely. They're a lot more physical, and it'll be interesting to see how they manage to cope with that. But no, I do think it's going to be an interesting game. Interesting you call this the game of the week. To me, I was fancying the Lions and the Buccaneers as game of the week, but this is going to be a good game nonetheless. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm looking forward to actually watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I was when I watched the game, it was about a toss-up between those two games, and I think just the fact that this is both teams on the record, it's a divisional game, could mean so much. Yeah. For me, that's what edged just slightly as the game of the week, because there's so much riding on this game. I mean, as we know about the Colts, we've talked a lot about their offense and what they can do. Flipping it over to Jacksonville, obviously like a good couple of weeks in London. Last week, they were probably not expected to beat the Bills. How have you seen the Jags start to the season under Lawrence and Etienne, Ridley? They have got that talent. Obviously, you've got Zay Jones and Evan Ingram there as well. Studs, what can this Jags offense actually do?
I think when you look at the pieces that they've got, I think they can be an absolute unbelievable offense, and they brought Ridley in to be that kind of additional piece. Kirk was phenomenal last year, and they were obviously looking to build on that and give a complementary piece. Evan Ingram last year as well was back to looking like the Evan Ingram for his rookie season, and I think he's going to be probably the most reliable out of the receivers, albeit I think last week against Buffalo he was pretty quiet, but before that he seems to be the most reliable option for Trevor Lawrence. We had week one, we'd seen Calvin Ridley absolutely bust out, and then it was next week he started Christian, Calvin Ridley was anonymous, and then we get to last week and Calvin Ridley was back again, making ridiculous catches. So, I mean, the offensive pieces, once they all get on the same page for me, I think this is going to be an absolutely unbelievable offense. As I mentioned earlier, Trevor Lawrence, I think he's had 3 fumbles or 3 turnovers or something so far as well. So, it's wee things like that he needs to tidy up. It seems to be it's like maybe fumbles from the snap with the centre, so I don't know if the relationship needs to be worked on there between those two. Just needs to get that cleaned up and it'll give the offense a better chance of pushing on.
Yeah, they've definitely got the pieces there to do something. It's as if Lawrence just needs to make that step forward to get from a good quarterback to a great quarterback, I think. And he's obviously got the talent because we've seen it, but it's the consistency that seems to be the problem with Lawrence. Do you think he can make that step up, Craig?
Yeah, absolutely can. The thing is, these are issues that are so easily fixable. When you look at teams that are struggling, that have massive problems, in terms of personnel that they need to fill positions with. The Jags don't have that issue in offense. Studs has gone through just the sheer number of weapons that Lawrence has got, and where they have been giving up points, it's on silly things like it's either penalties or it's Lawrence making mistakes and fumbles. These are things that can easily get fixed. So yeah, if they can resolve those say fairly minor coachable issues, then they should be in a pretty strong position for winning that division.
Yeah. So obviously we talked about Kirk, we talked about Ridley there, the wide receiver core. We've obviously talked about Lawrence. So now we talk about Etienne at running back, and we've obviously got Bigsby, who we've not seen a lot of this season. How are they set up for running back for the next couple of years, do you think, Scud?
I think they're really well prepared and really well kicked out for the foreseeable. I think Etienne's a really good running back. He's not the most explosive through the tackles, but in receptions, And catching the ball, he's really good at making someone miss. But I do think Bigsby could be your big bruiser, so to speak. Almost your Henry or the old Blunt type thing for the old Patriots. Just somebody who just hammers at home when required. I do think they've got two good, cracking young running backs who they've got plenty of time on their side with. I think it's just a really good young team, and their offense in general is there to grow together. That's an encouraging thing. It reminds me of the Bengals when they had all the young players to grow, when everybody was sort of in rookie deals, etc. They've got time to grow into that full thing. They lost a year with Lawrence, but with he who shall not be named as coach. But I think they've still got you'll have to pay him next year, but I do think they've got a team that can grow together and be a threat in the future for the Sturgis Chiefs.
I think getting into this season, we all looked at the NFC South and thought, that's going to be a bit of a dumpster fire of a division. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Rookie quarterbacks all over the place, and Lawrence is going to be consistent, but it's turning out to be a very competitive division. As much as we looked at the Jags are 3-2, Colts are 3-2, Texans at 2-3. CJ Stroud seems to have really found his feet in Texas. And Ryan Tannehill is Ryan Tannehill. He's going to give you what you expect from him. This division going out the rest of the season could be a real interesting one to watch. And I'm definitely for sure one that's going to be really pay attention to what happens there. Right, let's get to predictions for this game. Craig, where are you going with this one?
I'm leaning towards the Jags in this one.
Okay, Scud?
I'm going with the Colts.
Studs?
I'm going with the Colts, and I'm going to give you a surprise hero out of it. Somebody who's been kind of quietly performing for the Colts, and Josh Downs. I think he's going to go off on this game and absolutely kill it for the Colts.
Yeah.
Nice.
Will we keep him for this sleeper on the fantasy bit in a wee bit?
I'm not a wide receiver, so I don't need one of it.
Sorry, I've took a note of the name.
I think this is going to be a real interesting one, and this could go either way. And I think, like we said, Richardson getting out for most teams, you'd be like, that's a bit of a disaster. But the Colts, as we've said, are probably got the best backup in the league. I'm going to go with momentum on this one. I'm going to say the Jags will take this after they're on a decent run at the moment. I'm going to go with the Jags on this one as well. Right, I made a mistake at the start of the pod, guys, and I apologise. I forgot about the kickoff question. Get into the games. So what we're going to do now is we've finished covering these three games. And we're going to
have false start.
We're going to have a half-time question. Not a kickoff question. We'll have a half-time question, guys. So this week's kickoff question was: of all the stadiums in the NFL, you're not allowed to pick your own home stadium. Which stadium would you like to watch an NFL game in? Scud, we'll come to yourself first.
There's a lot to choose from, but I'll go with the most obvious one because I can get a bit of gambling done at the same time and go with the Raiders in Vegas. It's just, joking aside, the stadium looks phenomenal and it's one I would like to go to. You've also, I would love to go and see the Vikings and stuff like that as well, but I do think that stadium just looks dynamite.
Yeah, we got a bit of reaction on Twitter. I think Claire the Bear agreed with me in that one. She fancied Vegas. When I was in Vegas a few years ago, they were just building the stadium. And obviously, we were talking about building a stadium in Las Vegas. It is literally the next street over from the Strip. It is as close to Vegas as it could be. It's not one of these ones that is out with. They've picked a perfect location for it, and it does look cracking, to be fair. Craig, I mean, obviously, the Viking stadium, the atmosphere and all that is well renowned there. But if you had to pick another stadium to go, where would you pick?
Yeah. Hopefully next year I'll get out to US Bank. That's the plan. But for the simple reason that I want to be able to watch an NFL game from a swimming pool, I'm going to go and watch the Jags, and I'm going to book a cabana at Everbank Stadium. That's where I would go. Why would you not want to do that? I mean, you can. I think it costs something like $12,500, right, to book a cabana. But it holds like 50 people. So I reckon if we all chip in, right, we'll get 50 mates, and then that works at about $250 a head, and we can all just sit in a swimming pool and watch the Jags with a free bar. I mean, what's not to like about that? Just rock up. Never mind like wearing your jerseys and your big cheese heads or whatever to a game. Like just turn up in a pair of Speedos. It's all you need. Pair of budgie smugglers, and just sit in one of these pools and watch an NFL game. Have yourself a wee pool party. I got the class.
I'm there already. I'm there. Get me on the list. I'm there.
Do you know what's funny though? I was looking up about it, like how much it cost, and there was a thing about the lifeguards. There's a lifeguard at these pools, right? And it must be like the easiest job in the world. You literally get to sit in a chair and watch the Jags play football, but they're not allowed a whistle. The NFL didn't allow them to have a whistle in case it interrupts the play during the game. So they've got like a megaphone or something to shout at folk if they're messing about in the pool, which I thought was hilarious. But that'd be my choice.
Yeah, you just imagine Trevor Lawrence, 85-yard pass, Calvin Ridley's on the 1 yard line, and the lifeguard blows the whistle, and the
blows the dead play, and everyone's absolutely raging. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what like the Scottish football? I was trying to think, what's the Scottish football equivalent to that? Like I don't know, somebody in like the corner of Dingwall with one of these like inflatable lazy spas that you get at Aldi. Just sitting with like a bag of cans, just watching Scottish football with the rain's like pissing down and stuff. This is amazing.
I love that. Studs, we obviously know about Arrowhead and the noise it's made there, but you can't pick Arrowhead. So where are you going to watch a game?
For me, I must admit, I'm loving Smudger's idea, and if he doesn't get Jackson developing Speedos involved, then I'd be disappointed, to be honest. But I was kind of stuck between two, and initially when I first seen this question, I was like right away. I thought of the history of the NFL, and my head automatically went to the frozen tundra up at Lambeau Field. I think that'd just be a great place to go and watch a game. And then, as I said, the reason I was stuck between two, it was another NFC North team. I remember watching the flyover the game on Sunday night football between the Chiefs and the Vikings. And I just thought US Bank Stadium looked unbelievable. And then, as you mentioned, we were talking to Smudger Dan about the atmosphere and the noise coming out of the stadium, that skull chant. I can only imagine being in the stadium at that point. You're going to have goosebumps.
Yeah.
Good choice, Studs.
I mean, I was thinking about Green Bay in terms of that, but I'm like, nah, it's far too cold for me. I can't cope with that. One of the ones that I think it's not one I picked, but I gave me a bit of interaction on Twitter about this one was Onlyboy. He's a Patriots fan. He picked the Seahawks, I think again, and that's purely for atmosphere. There's so many modern stadiums you want to see. We talked about the Raiders and seen that amazing stadium, but there's so many stadiums within the NFL that you go just purely for atmosphere. And obviously, spoke about Minnesota, Kansas City, Seahawks is another one where you go purely for atmosphere. I'd
really get to see the Seahawks stadium, see the Hawks Nest, and it goes up to like a point at the end. But can you imagine being in like the very, very last seat? There must only be like, I don't know, a handful of seats right at the very end of that. But I think one. Just goes to a point, just one seat. I don't know.
But see, the atmosphere in there is amazing. But can you imagine if they closed that in? What the atmosphere would be like if that was a closed-in area? Because the amount of noise that they then generate would be unbelievable as well.
Aye, it would be absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, obviously, having the best stadium in the NFL, I mean, I would also love to go to a Cowboys game, but can't pick a homer pick on this one. It's a tough one. I mean, I visited Santa Clara when I was in San Fran a couple of years ago, and standing outside that looked like an amazing stadium, and inside it was amazing. Atlanta, again, another modern stadium that just looks the part. But for me, because the city's number one on my place I want to visit in America now, it's got to be the Superdome in New Orleans. I just would love to visit the city. And it's also one of the older domes in the league, and I just think the city and everything about New Orleans I would pick the Superdome for that one for myself. Right, so let's next go to the resting one, and it's not really the rest. I've picked 6 games that are probably could go either way or debatable who's going to win. I kind of avoided the the obvious ones like the Chiefs against the Broncos. There's no point in doing that in the rest of the one because we all know how that's going to go. Well, we'll think
Broncos.
that's going to go. So what I'm going to do is going to go in a clockwise motion. We'll go Scud, Craig, Studs. I'm going to tell you the games in one word who's going to win. All right. So first, Titans at the Ravens. Or Titans v Ravens.
Ravens.
Craig.
Smudger.
Oh, we did me as well. Ravens flock.
Studs.
I'll go Titans just to be different.
I'm going to go Ravens on this one as well. Texans, Saints.
Texans.
I'm Texans as well on this one.
Stop copying me.
Hey, I'm on the CJ train.
I'm going Saints, and I think CJ gets his first pick of the season.
Oh.
Honey Badger will be a chance.
I'm all aboard the CG train as well. I'm going Texans with this one as well. I think they're starting to get a bit of momentum. He's finding his feet. Yeah, I think we'll go with this one. Falcons against the Commanders.
Tie.
Falcons.
I'll go Commanders. Then Dan has to break the tie.
That's a tough one. Sam Hill's been better than I think everyone most expected. Falcons have been a bit disappointing in certain aspects. I need to go Falcons. I can't go Washington. I can't go divisional team. I've got to go Atlanta.
Go a tie with me. It's the best place to be.
I don't want splinters in my backside for sitting in the fence. Next one, two teams that one is an absolute dumpster fire, one that isn't a dumpster fire, but looks like they're a dumpster fire by their record. Bears and the Vikings.
Bears.
Screw you, Scud. Vikings, come on.
I'm going
No
Vikings.
JJ, no party.
Yeah, I think even without JJ, I think this could be one of the example where you see teams that have got that elite player when he's taken out of the game, they spread it about a bit more, and everybody else
watch Addison, watch Osborne, watch Hawkinson. Everybody will take their fair shares.
Yeah.
Don't be worried too much about that.
Yeah, I'm going to go
defend.
Vikings for me, purely because I've got them all in fantasy. Next one, Raiders against the Pats.
Raiders.
Yep. Definitely
Stud
Raiders.
doesn't believe in his team. I'll believe in them. I'll go Pats.
You're stupid.
Pats have absolute dumpster fire that nobody's seen coming. I know this is something that's going to be discussed on a future pod. I'm going to go Raiders here as well. Jimmy G come back to haunting the Patriots.
Aye.
I'll go with Jacoby Myers haunting the Patriots.
Both of them, yeah, it's a great shout. Actually, I'm reading a wee bit earlier on. Last one.
Maybe he'll do the same as what he done last year and pass one to the opposite team.
Hopefully.
I mean, in any other week, you would think this game I'm going to talk about now should be and would be game of the week because of what you would expect from both teams. But I don't think it is, and I think both teams are inconsistent, and they'll tell you something. So, Chargers and the Cowboys.
Can I go last in this one?
Nope.
I'll go first if you want. It doesn't bother me.
I'll go Cowboys because I don't even know who's fit for the Chargers, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
Back or Williams.
Gotta go Cowboys.
In a rare moment, I'm going to agree with the guys. I'm going Cowboys as well, Dan. So it could be a clean sweep for the Cowboys.
Oh, the full house of the night.
That means they're getting beat. Yes!
I read you're talking about injuries. I think Eckler said he's 99%. He's 99% sure Eckler says he'll play.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, I'm also going to go Cowboys for this one. So first full house of the night. So thanks, guys, for cussing that one.
Anytime.
So, guys, we're doing all right for time here. We've not got much long left, but we had a new wee feature in because we're at the stage of the season where things are starting to pan out, and we're seeing how teams are going to go. This again is going to be a quick fire round. We're going to do a will they, won't they. So teams that haven't started as well as we expected, are they going to make the playoffs? This is the question, yeah. So will they or will they not make the playoffs? We'll do it the same order. Scud, Craig, Studs. The Chargers are 2-2. Are they making the playoffs?
Yes. If that'd be a reason, or just say yes?
No, just yes or no.
Aye.
No, I don't know if they'll get a wild card, so I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say yes.
Yes. Okay. Another one a team that came into the season with really high hopes, but haven't set the fire to everything for obvious reasons. Jets, 2-3.
No.
Nah, don't think so. Not after Rodgers getting injured. Nah.
No. Not seen enough from Wilson to justify it.
Excellent. So the next two teams I'm going to do is in a winner because they're both in the same division. They've both got the same records. Texans and Titans, both 2-3.
Yes and no.
I think no for both.
Who's
I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be enough. I think Jags for the AFC South. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to be enough to get a wildcard spot when you look at the other teams in the AFC. So I'm going to say no.
I'm a no for both as well. I think the Colts and Jags are going to take the 2 spots there.
Good. Next one, Rams, 2-3.
Aye, for shits and giggles.
Ooh, nah, I don't. Nah, I don't think they'll finish second in the NFC West.
Nah, can't see it.
Yeah, I've kind of missed it. I've been focusing on you guys. I don't think they'll either. 3 more to go. Packers, 2-3.
I'll go first. No.
No, I don't think the Packers. No.
I'm a no as well.
Okay. And the last two, same division but different records. Browns, 2-2.
No.
I don't think so either. Sorry, Brian.
Nah.
And
If Chubb was fit, I'd say aye, but no.
and the last one, just for Stu, Bengals, 2-3.
Yes.
Whoa. Just.
I'm going for a no because I'm pretty sure their schedule's pretty brutal.
So that was good, guys. I quite like that. That was a quick fire. So we're going to finish with the last bit, usually with the fantasy stud and sleeper. So we'll go around the table as we normally do. So quarterbacks, who's your sleeper and who's your stud this week, Craig?
Well, I don't really know if you would call it a sleeper as such, right? But I'm looking at this Texans Saints game, right? And CJ Stroud against the Saints. So the Saints have got a really decent secondary. You know, you've got Lattimore, Taylor, guys like that who have managed to shut down like a lot of the kind of top wide receivers so far. Stroud's done really, really well. He's had I was having a look, like he had a wee taste of playing the Saints in pre-season. Okay, I think he only had 4 passing attempts, but he actually scored a touchdown with one of them. So yeah, I just think like the Saints, okay, like they won last week against a poor Pat side, but they've got Alvin Kamara firing all cylinders, and they've got a decent quarterback in Derek Carr. So I think this is going to be potentially a really decent game. So my sleeper QB, I say it's not really a sleeper, but I'm picking him because it's an interesting matchup. I'm going to go CJ Stroud.
What happened to your stud to start with?
Well, okay. So I'm going sleeper first. Stud, I think that's an easy one. You'll find out later. Pat Mahomes against the hapless Broncos. I think the passing game hasn't. Now, Studs, you can probably picture this as well. Like MVS and Sky Moore, maybe hasn't really clicked and happened so far, but I think that's maybe all the more reason you might see Mahomes just saying, do you know what, I'll just do it myself, scrambling the ball himself. And then you've got the Broncos who are just hemorrhaging points everywhere. Their secondary's dire. One of the worst defences in the entire NFL, and it's at Arrowhead. So I think Mahomes could end up, doing a lot. That and it's the Chiefs.
Yeah, the only thing I would say on that's the Broncos are hemorrhaging on the running side. So you're not really having to pass on them, unfortunately. So Checo could be one to watch.
True.
What a link that is to me being on running backs next. So my stud running back this week, believe it or not, is going to be Pacheco. He's just going to run all over the Broncos tonight. I just can't see them stopping him at all. I think that he's my stud. Sleeper this week is someone who I picked up in fantasy and who I thought was going to make it to, and he's not really done it yet. So my sleeper this week is going to be, as Craig will be happy to see, is Mattison. I think he's got to have a breakout at some point. And I think against the Bears could be a good game for him to do it. So I'm going to go with him as my sleeper this week. Wide receivers, Scud.
I was between 3 for my top stud. Hill, Moore or Diggs. I think I'm going to go Hill because I think Miami are going to just dominate this game. I've actually forgot who they're playing. My head's up my arse.
I don't know who it is.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I have seen it eventually at one point.
Panthers.
I see. Well, you know exactly why I said I've got to dominate. But Hill, I think I took Hill last week, but I'll go again this because they are the definition of dumpster fire. So no, I'll go with Hill. Again, any 3 of them could. I think they're going to do well this because again you've got Moore against the Vikings, so it's going to be it'll be a chuck it game, high scoring game. But I'll go with Hill. Sorry for rambling.
Are you a sleeper?
Touched on it earlier. I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers. Again, there's a couple in the thing where I thought Jameson Williams might get more of a snap count this week, but I think Myers.
Okay, interesting choice, and I can see exactly why you're going that way. Defenses, who's going to be your stud this week, Craig?
Okay, they're a bit banged up, but Bills D against the Giants. They're leading in sacks. They're 4th in the league for QB pressure, and we've already talked about what Seattle did to the Giants 2 weeks ago. We're not even sure if Daniel Jones might even play. I saw that they've signed Carson Wentz to their practice squad. But yeah, it could be interesting to see what happens over the weekend. Who's actually going to suit up at quarterback for the Giants? But yeah, I think the Bills D could run amok.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he didn't practice again yesterday. I'm not 100% with that neck injury he's got. Carson Wentz is an interesting pickup for them. Like, if you're a Giants fan, do you want Tyler Taylor starting or do you want Carson Wentz starting? I'm going Wentz all day long on that one, to be fair. Who's your sleeper, D?
Sorry, Scud, but just because the Pats have been not that great, I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one. It was a coin toss between that the Dolphins against Bryce Young and the 1-5 Panthers, but I'm going to go Raiders.
Crosby's probably going to kill Mac Jones, so it's not a surprise you're saying that.
Excellent. Right, studs, you take it away with the last 2. Who's your stud tight end?
I contemplated going a homer pick, going Kelsey and going the very easy route, but I'm going to actually fall back who I believe Stu picked last week and Hawkinson for the Vikes. I think they have struggled against tight ends all season, and again JJ injury. I think he had a 27% target share. Those targets have got to go somewhere, and I think you'll see Hawkinson, Addison, and Osborne all picking up some of that slack.
Excellent. And your sleeper?
My sleeper was going to be Darren Waller because he's not really performed, but I noticed that he's been a limited participant this week. So with that in mind, I'm going to flip to a pick for your guys, Stan. I'm going to flip to Jake Ferguson, who I think we've started to see progressively more of as the seasons went on. I think he's going to have a big game against the Chargers.
Yeah, just on Jake Ferguson, I think Dax, he's so inconsistent, and Dak's been a quarterback who's been really good at using tight ends in the past, and he's not really used Ferguson as much as I think he would. And obviously, that's probably the play call, but I really like Jake Ferguson. I think he could be a good tight end for us. And actually, when I came here, I was thinking the sleeper in my head was Jake Ferguson, so I'm glad you picked him. And finish off. I'm not going to do this week to do kickers, so studs, you can have the honour of kickers this week.
For me, kickers, I had this in my head earlier on. I'm going to go with Riley Patterson of the Detroit Lions. I think he's been absolute money for the most part of the season. And again, high-powered offense. He's going to get plenty of opportunities for me. So I'll go Riley Patterson.
Excellent. I'm happy with that. He's in my fantasy team. And your sleeper?
I don't really know if he's been a sleeper. Scud will be very familiar with this guy. Nick Folk seems to have been kind of quietly moving under the radar. And is it Tennessee? Is that now?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think I'm going to get a wee interest in the London game this weekend, and we'll go Nick Folk.
I did. When they played last week, I was watching Red Zone. I can't remember exactly the stat came up, but there was some sort of stat with him and his field goals under 50 yards. He's not missed one for a ridiculous amount of time.
Oh, donkeys, mate. I can't remember the number, but it is a long time.
They pointed out on Red Zone last week because he hit three field goals last week, and anything under 50 yards, he's not missed one for a stupid amount of time. So, yeah, it's a good pick as well. Well, guys, we came to the end of the podcast. That was a good chat tonight. I really enjoyed that. We got into a lot of detail about teams, and we're getting to that stage of the season now where teams are, as I said at the start, the teams at the top of the tree are starting to become evident. We'll now start to see teams at the bottom that are going to start thinking, oh, well, we need to start looking at next season already. We're out of the running. By the end of this weekend, I think we'll have a couple more teams in that situation. Some college quarterback phones that aren't allowed to be phoned yet, I think will start getting hot over the next couple of weeks. Guys, thanks as always, Scud. Thanks for tonight.
Cheers, buddy. No problem.
Craig, let's hope your Vikings do well for my fantasy team this weekend.
Hope so, mate. Hope so for my sanity as well that they get a win.
And Studs, there's no point even saying I hope the Chiefs get beat because it's just not going to happen, is it?
Fingers crossed. It's as routine as it possibly can be.
Excellent, guys. Thanks for tonight again, guys. Well, everybody watching, listening, the crew will be back on Tuesday night for the review crew. Hopefully we'll get some good chat out the weekend, a couple of surprises, a couple of games that we never thought we were going to talk about that we'll have on Tuesday. Catch us everywhere you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitter. Catch us on the follows, catch us on the comments. If you have anything you want the crew to discuss over the next couple of weeks, let us know. There's a lot of talking points coming up. Thanks for joining us, and I'll catch you all soon.
Did Dan just fuck off?
Dan just left.
He's left the recording going.
Shit.
That's all right.
I'm assuming none of us can stop it.